So, Parappa is a game that exists. Parappa is something I never would have imagined myself talking about in a video. In fact, the last time I remember talking about it publicly was in middle school. Bless my friend for sitting through me info dumping random Parappa facts and trivia. But ever since the release of Friday Night Funkin', I've noticed the resurgence of Simon Says-esque rhythm games. And through these rhythm games, more and more people start to recognize Parappa, which becomes even more shocking when you consider that Parappa the Rapper 1 is widely considered to be the first true rhythm game. I don't know, with how many more rhythm games you see nowadays, you'd think this fact would be more common knowledge. Parappa has also just gone a lot more viral than he did prior to 2020. I'd be surprised if anyone didn't recognize this guy in some regard. Either way, the Parappa games are great. Not perfect, obviously. You can really tell how much sharper rhythm games have gotten regarding timing and input delay. But still, these games are so charming, so silly, so, alright, elephant in the room, weird, that you can't help but go along with them. And so, in this video, I'm going to take a look into the Parappa the Rapper series.
What?
Parappa the Rapper is a game developed by and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation in 1996 for Japan and 1997 internationally. Created by music producer Masaya Matsuda and artist Rodney Greenblatt, the two worked alongside others to create a whimsical world of colorful characters with the heart and soul of music. Both the game's visual design and the game's genre would be unlike anything else at the time, filling the game with unexpectancy. Fortunately, the game sold well internationally, but sold amazingly in Japan, the former of which Greenblatt attributes to marketing the game internationally to children, a demographic which would have trouble actually completing the game. Still, the game did better than expected for being so style over substance. The game's story is really simple. You're Parappa, and this is Sunny Funny. Don't worry about these guys, they won't become relevant until later on. You have a crush on Sunny Funny, but you're obviously insecure about yourself because Joe Chin exists. And there is no bigger obstacle in the world of getting bitches than Joe Chin. Seriously, there's almost no interactions between Joe and anyone but Parappa. And even then he's either croc-blocking you, or generally being a dick. So you want to learn how to fight so you can kick his ass or something. And this leads into the first song. Now, I wasn't planning on going too in-depth on the gameplay for each level. Just know that you're given a pattern, and you have to copy it on your controller. For a level 1, this song does the job just fine, and it introduces Chop Chop Master Onion, who becomes a mainstay in every Parappa game going forward. I also want to add that they forgot to lip-sync Chop Chop Master Onion during the bridge between lessons 3 and 4, and that made its way to the remaster.
Come on now, why don't you follow my words, because we're almost done. I'll make it easier first. I wanna see if you wanna see what it means to be the man with a master plan. Are you the man now? Here we go now.
So, Parappa learns karate. I think. It wasn't really shown anywhere. But then Joe pulls up in this thing. So now you want to learn how to drive, which transitions into one of the best songs in the Parappa series.
Alright, we're here, just sitting in the car. I want you to show me if you can get far. Step on the gas.
Step on the gas, step on the gas,
Step on the brakes.
step on the brake, step on the brake.
When I say boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam.
You know your song's good when even the bad version goes hard. And so, Parappa gets his license. And then Parappa wrecks his dad's car. Yeah, the gameplay loop is a bit obvious by now. This leads to Parappa working with this really chill frog at a flea market. Master Fleaswallow's rap is definitely the most overlooked stage in the first game, probably because it's sandwiched in between two bangers. It's also just surprisingly easy for starting like this.
In the rain or in the snow,
In the rain, I'm in the snow.
got the funky flow.
Got the funk flow.
I guess Parappa Town's, yes that's the actual name, economy rides on flea markets because you can make enough to repair a car after a day of selling bottle caps and skunks. We cut to the day before Sunny's birthday, in which everyone's deciding who will do what. Parappa's in charge of getting the cake, which goes surprisingly well until he runs into Joe Chin, who got Sunny a 42-layer cake. Bro's talking about marriage, how old even is this guy? Anyways, to establish dominance like the alpha male he is, he pushes Parappa over, knocking the cake out of his hands. Which transitions into one of the best songs in the— oh yeah, I already used that line.
Every single day, stress comes in every way. I no time for nobody. My style is rich, dope, fat, and rich. We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
So Parappa learns how to make a seafood cake, which sounds disgusting, but at the same time, cake's already mid as is, so maybe adding seafood is the way to go. One of my personal favorite details is how Parappa will not fully copy the teacher if it doesn't fit his situation.
Here, I got a little sample.
Here, I don't have a sample.
Cause ample time's just what we don't have.
Cause money time's just what we don't have.
You gotta fit some humor in somewhere, because this is one of the hardest stages in the game due to how strict the timing is. If you manage to not get shit on, literally, Parappa bakes the cake just fine, and scarfs down the whole thing at Sunny's party. Damn, I'm gonna need that recipe. Wait, Katie was the setup producer, right? What did she even do? The party's on a blanket at the park. So yeah, it's just you and Sunny now. Except, uh-oh, you've got a battle. IBS. Also, Sunny mistakes Parappa holding it in to looking manly, which raises questions I don't even want to think about. So, you drive to the gas station to go to the bathroom, which is one of the worst places to go for that, and you've got to rap battle your way to the front of the line. I remember someone recreating the stage on Newgrounds and playing it in my homeroom class because it was the closest thing to playing Parappa at the time. If you manage to win and avoid the 2-hour unskippable game over cutscene, Parappa gets to the bathroom just fine. After that, we get a sort of epilogue that leads into the final song of the game. And aside from the weird charting, this is one of the few songs that Parappa completely freestyles in.
Everybody, just check out the way I live, everybody.
Yo, everybody. Son, this way is for his party.
It's pretty rewarding, and I wish this was done more in the later games. But at the same time, I feel like the later games reward you more for freestyling, so I guess that makes up for it.
Everybody say ho. Say ho, ho. Say ho, ho, ho. Now scream.
And yeah, that's Parappa the Rapper 1. A pretty solid start to the series. And while I don't think the original version holds up as well as another version that I'll get to later, its visual and sound design still hold up today with how unique they are. The main issue with this game is with its timing, and playing it on a PlayStation with the classic PlayStation controller is a lot more out of the way than just emulating it and dealing with a bit of input delay. But believe it or not, this is the lowest the Parappa series gets, because every other game from here on out is just as good, if not better than the last. Let's move on to the second game in the Parappa the Rapper series. What? Yeah, so the second game in the Parappa series is not Parappa the Rapper 2. It's this game, Jammer Lammy. And despite what this is looking to be, this game is actually pretty good. If you thought Parappa 1 was weird, then this game is nothing short of a fever dream. Seriously, when developing the game, the team started to go more in a psychedelic direction when designing the game's story and visual design. And while this put some people off, including the game's artist Rodney Greenblatt, it was still the same style of rhythm game, just with a much less conventional storyline and more out there visuals. Keep that in mind while I cover this game. So funny enough, this game starts off exactly the same as Parappa 1, starting off at a movie theater and transitioning into Chunky Burger, while setting up that the main character wants to be brave. In this game, you play as Lammy, a guitarist who plays with Katie Cat from the last game, and Masan in their band Milk Can. This cutscene also establishes Lammy as a powerhouse when she's on the guitar, a theme that gets carried out throughout every stage of the game. And yes, you'll see the extent of this as we go through the main story. The real game begins with Lammy being late for a show.
I had a stomach ache, so I went to the bathroom, but there was a long line at the gas station. I told them it was an emergency, but they said,
Let's rap for it.
But making it to find out that their band has a new vocalist, Chop Chop Master Onion. And yeah, he's not looking too great. Gameplay-wise, there's not a lot different from Parappa 1, other than the fact that Lammy plays a guitar instead of rapping. This game is also a lot harder than Parappa 1 from the get-go, even if it's circumvented by a better display system for the notes, which isn't mastered until the third game, but it's leagues better than the first game. Oh, and Chop Chop Master Onion foreshadows the entire game in this one song, but that's beside the matter. After the show, it's revealed that Lammy's playing with a vacuum cleaner, and then everyone just gets up and leaves. Lammy laments her feelings to Chop Chop Master Onion, to which he explains this.
Guitar? Listen, I lost my dojo, but the dojo remains in my mind. It even has a casino. Dojo, casino, that's all in the mind. You have nothing to lose.
Okay.
Phew, it was a dream.
Cop out. So, Lammy's gonna be late for her actual show, and damn, bitch, you live like this? She makes her way down the road until... people are dying! Lammy straight up tells the firefighters to move out of her way because she's in a hurry, to which they just give her the hose and make her put out the fire instead, which leads into her envisioning the hose as her guitar and playing it to put out the fire. What this game lacks in logic is made up for in music because there's not a single track that misses in this entire game. The guitar complements every song really well, and despite being decently difficult for a level 2, this stage is extremely memorable. It's even got Joe Chin! When my house is 68% on fire and then I remember that my body is 70% water. So yeah, this goes extremely well, and we get to celebrate with some pizza. Which leads into Lammy getting so bloated that she's mistaken for being pregnant and punished by having to put babies to sleep at a hospital. That's so creative, I think? Who came up with this? This is level 3. I guess Flea Swallow did this too, but holy shit. I don't know how you can make a song so intentionally annoying, but so catchy at the same time. What the fuck is this game? This is what people who don't like babies think babies are like. And I'm people. So after that, you remember that you're late for your show, which leads into Lammy getting caught on a skateboard that catches up with the plane, being piloted by a veteran who forgets how to fly, resulting in Lammy having to be taught how to fly a plane to make it to her show. Anyways, this song is good. And crazy complex too. I mean, look at this. I also like how much this song shifts between going hard and chilling out as Captain Fusen Pepper switches personalities. Yeah, I don't know where this flies, haha, today, but it's silly enough. Anyways, Lammy lands the plane and continues her run of the show. I'd ask why she didn't just take the plane there, but the game answered that question for me. But then she realized that she left her guitar on the plane.
I left it on the plane!
Lucky for her, there's a conveniently located custom guitar store. And then this happens.
Oh, please! I'll do anything, please!
What do you mean I can't use the same joke 2 videos in a row? This guy's a lumberjack, and because no one's built a Walmart over his beautiful backyard forest, it's time to make a guitar. This song gets a lot of flack for being bad or forgettable, but I can't lie by saying this isn't one of my favorite songs in the game. Even if his vocals are much better than others, some of his lines have such an infectious energy around them. I love this guy, man. But now, we've arrived at Taste of Teriyaki, one of the most interesting stages in the Parappa series. You see, this is the only stage in the entire franchise to have version differences. In the original Japanese and European versions of Jammer Lammy, Lammy slips on a banana peel leaving Palchuk's store and literally dies. I'm not joking, she even goes to hell.
Is this
But in the US version of the game, she gets her waistband pulled leaving Palchuk's store, and gets thrown onto an abandoned island. From here, both scenes play out exactly the same, only with a location difference. Lammy gets brought on stage to play guitar for this girl's show, and things go from there. I told you this game was a fever dream. I'm not gonna lie, this might be the hardest and the most controversial stage in the Parappa series. It's often said that the best way to beat this stage is not to beat it traditionally. Instead, you have to enter Cool Mode, a mode that rewards you for freestyling at the right time on your turn. Once you're in Cool Mode, you can pretty much freestyle throughout the entire song and win by default. Otherwise, you have to deal with this chart's insanely strict timing and overall jump in difficulty. And this is for a song that people either completely love or completely hate. There's no middle ground when it comes to this song, and I get why. Seeing as the original intention for this song was to take place in hell, it's noticeably darker and more unconventional than any other song in the series. It's not meant to sound good in the traditional sense, but it's not made to sound unlistenable either. And for myself, this song just scratches my brain in the right way for me to like it. The guitar goes off, the instrumental goes off, and the singer complements the vibe wonderfully. Just because someone is capable of singing in the quote-unquote correct way, doesn't mean that they have to. Despite everything stacked against this stage, it's one of my favorites.
You were just as I expected. Really good.
Thanks. That's what I do best.
Like the opening of this stage, the epilogue is also version specific. You either get brought back to life, or transported back to Parappa Town. The cutscene also introduces Rammy, a character specific to the game's 2-player mode, but that's not important. Sorry Rammy fans, your character barely exists. What's actually important is Lammy finally making it to her show! Let's go! This is the most normal thing that's happened in this game.
Okay, this is it. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah! Milk can is always on my mind. Leave it to Milk
Man, this song goes hard. Rest in peace to Michelle Burks, the original voice actor for Katy Cat. She absolutely went off on her vocal performance.
Always in my best. Give it my best. I don't need no rest. It's my test now. And I'm in a beat. It's very unique. And I know that
And as cool as it would have been to see a guitar solo akin to Parappa's solo in the first game, this song is an incredible send-off to Jammer Lammy. Oh yeah, you know exactly where this is going. Believe it or not, there's an entirely separate story mode for Parappa after you beat the main game. And while the story itself isn't anything spectacular, it's just about Parappa and PJ trying to start a band with goofy payoffs. The music most definitely is.
Squirt it to the left and squirt it to the right.
Slam the water, smack right on the fire. Extinguish the flame, cause that's my desire.
Slam the water, smack right on the fire. Extinguish the flame, cause that's my desire.
it's my brain.
May I help you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. People in the
You don't wanna see me get hurt. The angel's been mean to me, that's for sure.
If I can have another wish, I want the devil to join my next dish.
If I can have another wish, I want the devil to join my next dish.
But if I can't have another one, I'll turn my back and go on the run.
But if I can't have another one, I turn my back and go on the run.
They remixed every song and their lyrics to fit a more hip-hop vibe for Parappa. This is New Game Plus right here. And while not every song goes as hard as Lammy's version, most, if not all of them, get pretty damn close.
Give me some milk, give me some food.
Give me some milk, give me some food.
Not to mention the two-player mode with Lammy and Parappa, which remixes both of their versions together. Although, it's not as seamless as it sounds.
Oh wait.
And that's Jammer Lammy. Honestly, my favorite game in the Parappa series. There's so much more content and variety in this game than Parappa 1, debatably on par with how much content is in the next game from a quality standpoint. Every character, except this one, is really likable and full of personality, and the Milk Can members being mainstays from here on out is a real treat. This is the only game that Lammy is playable, which is a bit of a shame, but for her first and only debut, she made a great job in providing a similar yet unique experience. This game didn't sell as well as Parappa 1, and I actually want to recommend this video by BR if you want to learn more about it, but the franchise will make up for it, with the more fittingly titled Parappa the Rapper 2 is more or less a direct sequel to Parappa the Rapper 1 in relation to Jammer Lammy. Just like the first game, it stars Parappa as the main character, and builds on the supporting cast from the last two games, including PJ, Parappa's dad, Sunny's dad, and the entirety of Milk Can. The former is playing much greater roles than they did in their debut game. In terms of quality, Parappa the Rapper 2 is easily the most polished game thus far. The visual design, music, and gameplay hold up the most compared to the previous games, along with having just as much, if not more, replayability than Jammer Lammy. This game's story has also found a much better balance between being conventional and straight up weird. With all of this in the game's favor, let's go over Parappa the Rapper 2. The game opens with the traditional movie theater scene, only with a twist. It's established that Parappa got a coupon at a burger shop and had won a lifetime supply of noodles. Because of this, he can't stomach even the sight of noodles, which bites him in the ass when he goes over to Sunny's house for noodles.
I know. I got it. No, I can't believe.
Parappa, I didn't know you were such a baby.
Much like in the first game, Parappa's insecurities for being seen as a baby are what motivate him throughout his adventure. So, when Parappa and PJ go for beard burgers, a Parappa Town tradition, see, I wasn't lying, and find out that all their burgers have turned into noodles, he wants to grow up by learning how to make burgers. No, Parappa, don't waste your life away at 18! The McDonald's paycheck isn't worth it!
That's right! I'm in the house! Here it comes! Extra, read all about it. The best burgers in town from all around. People from around the world come and get it. The line goes around like a merry-go-round.
The first song in Parappa 2 is probably the best first song in the Parappa series, and the difficulty is fit for a level 1. However, it suffers from something that only exists in this game. You see, in the previous Parappa games, there was only one difficulty for each stage, meaning that you got what you got for each of them. But in Parappa the Rapper 2, the difficulty of every stage increases when you replay the story mode over again, which means that the base songs are a bit lacking. However, the hardest version of each song, a difficulty unobtainable through the vanilla game, is the best version of their respective song. I mean, come on, what's more satisfying to listen to? This?
Bring on the ketchup! Don't forget the cheese! Bring on the mustard! And the liberties!
Or this?
Bring ketchup! It's the cheese! Don't forget! Bring on the mustard! And the liberties!
I rest my case. After burgers, we find out that a phenomenon known as noodleization is turning everything into noodles. Back at home, Parappa and Sunny's dad are tinkering with the denoodleization machine, which, after some hijinks, shrinks both of them. And when Parappa and PJ get home, they get distracted by a show strictly for adults. Remember when I said that this game's first song is the best one in the series? Well, then it's pretty obvious which Chop Chop Master Onion song is my favorite.
Yes, it is time to get romantic. Time to get romantic, yes indeed, that's for sure. The kick punch style remains very secure. Never pending, always the fast to make a move. This time we get down nice and smooth.
This track is so chill. I love how into it Parappa gets, and when Chop Chop Master Onion starts talking about how he needs a good lawyer more than halfway through the song, it's a good time. So, after fighting for the remote, Parappa and PJ accidentally shrink themselves, and...
Is Parappa home?
Ugh! Michelle Burks, you ain't. Anyways, everyone and their mother ends up getting shrunk at Parappa's house.
Just walking by.
Hello. Hello, Mario.
And in their struggle to become big, this game's choice of words, not mine, they meet Guru Ant. Cue the best song in the game.
It's your desire to grow back again.
It's my desire to grow back again.
You came to the right place. I'll make it big.
I came to the right place. You make it big.
What's this? A trick with a twist. Somebody do something, blow somebody and make it quick. I'm sorry, I lied. Just wanted to guide everybody through this and go with a ride. Pull the lever, or whatever. Right now. Better make it quick.
Better make it quick.
Better make it look.
Better make it look.
It's at this point in the story where the game starts to tease our antagonist, along with steps that the military has taken to combat noodles. Parappa and PJ are put into a military training camp, and it's here where we're introduced to Musasia, who bears a striking resemblance to another character in the Parappa series. And if there's any song that just goes hard in general, it's this one.
Attention, attention! Come on, everybody, let's go! Hop to it! 1, 2, let's go! Come on! Fancy cars, gold chains don't mean a thing. Word to your brain, fame is my game. Ride the terrain, smooth with no pain. I come from the streets, no such thing as pain.
Like, why is her flow so good? Don't even get me started on this song at max difficulty.
The end is near, come on, let's put up the show. Time, rock, that, climb, the rock, that, right, left. I hate being stiff.
I love that these bullies have been saying the exact same thing for like 5 years now.
Yeah.
After training, Parappa and PJ are sent on a fucking hostage mission. Never a dull moment in this universe. And with the help of Milk Can, Parappa builds up the courage to cut hair. This song's pretty good, and as simple as the lyrics are, they're perfect for freestyling.
What the fuck? This game makes no ham sense.
Luckily, Parappa and the gang managed to get this busted up machine to Parappa's dad, which appears to be the cause of the noodleization. And in order to stop the noodleization, someone must go into the game and beat it, with the consequence of only being able to eat noodles if you were to lose. Naturally, Parappa takes up the challenge, and this is Parappa the Rapper 2's equivalent of Full Tank from the first game.
Hey everybody, watch out for those flying noodles, cause if you don't do well here, all you get to eat are noodles. Here we go.
Extra, read all about it. I'm back for more because my store's a bore. I travel shore to shore, door to door, looking around for some perfect store.
The best part about this song is how the worse you do, the worse the visuals and the sound font gets.
Getting worse.
French surprise. Go, cook the burgers.
Getting worse.
Those hotties. Throw, hit, thrill.
And aside from this stage, I think Parappa 2 has the worst bad and awful tracks for each song. Once Parappa beats the game, it becomes the key components of the denoodleizer, allowing the gang to combat them until they find a possible source of everything that's been going on. Yeah, it was the burger shop's son, who actually has a decent motivation for doing the things he's done.
Even my mother, she ate so many burgers that... Did she pass away? No, she turned into one.
Anyways, this is the closest thing to an actual rap battle in the Parappa series.
In parentheses, let me stress the fact clearly. No matter what the deal, I crave for this dearly. The so-called noodles that you find in spaghetti are sweeter than idols, do damage like machetes. Without a doubt, I got the flow coming at you live. Bring the place alive every single day I jive. With the thought comes my direct actions. Ask my followers, they'll say it's an addiction.
And it's one of the few songs that Parappa doesn't entirely copy his opponent in. However, if there's anything significant that came out of this stage, it's Chinese. And remember the epilogue from Parappa 1? There was actually a song from Sunny that played throughout the entire cutscene. Why didn't I bring it up earlier? Well, it's because the song in this game's epilogue is on a whole nother level.
But then soon we overcame them all. One by one, side by side, we gave each other love that's real and everlasting.
We get a nice resolve between Sunny and Parappa, and that takes us to the final stage, one last party at Club Fun. And even though I prefer Parappa 1's take on this stage, this one holds up just fine. Wait, I take that back, this part goes hard. And that's Parappa the Rapper 2. A very solid rhythm game experience, arguably more solid and more iconic than Parappa 1. But, do I like it more than Jammer Lammy? No. Every song in Jammer Lammy goes hard by default. I could really only stand listening to the max difficulty versions of songs in Parappa 2, as good as they are. But, that about covers the entire Parappa the Rapper series. And that's about it, really. 3 games of increasing quality, all of which culminate to a loving conclusion of the Parappa the Rapper franchise. There is technically a 4th game in the series, but it's simply a 20th anniversary remaster of Parappa 1. And while it's cool that it exists, it doesn't really boast anything new. I'd say it at least fixes the bad timing, but no.
M-I-X the flower into the bowl.
M-I-X, the flower into the bowl.
M-I-X the flower into the bowl.
M-I-X, the flower into the bowl.
Unfortunately for Parappa, the novelty of a call and response rhythm game continues to get expanded and improved on as time goes on. And even though I'd love a new Parappa game, they'd have to offer a lot more in terms of gameplay. I'm not talking songs with mid-fight masses charting, but tweaks to the timing and a more streamlined difficulty system for certain. And a new voice actor for Katie. Still, if it means getting more unique art from both Matsuda and Greenblatt, I'd be more than happy with what they'd create. Is Parappa weird? Short answer, yeah. But, if anything, weird is always going to be inherently interesting. See you around.
Hey, you sure know how to drive, man. I have nothing else to teach you no more.